Hello everyone, this is the final episode of Chapter 2. Several days after Harada's encounter at the notice board, I accompanied the captains to a meal at Sumi. Sumi is a restaurant located in Shimabara, that's the Kyoto red light district, where high-ranking courtesans can be hired for entertainment. "Well, I'll be damned," said Nagakura. "You really did it, Sano. And to think you want to use that reward money to treat us all to some good food? Well... If you're going to suck up," said Okita, "you might at least try and mention how he actually got that reward." "I'll get to it," said Nagakura. "I'm just so touched that he's gonna pay the bill, I think. I might cry." "Tonight's on Sano, guys. Drink as much as you want. Forget your problems." "Hey," said Harada, "don't go nuts, all right?" "Thanks, Sano," said Todo. "I'm gonna drink myself stupid." "Not everyone here can drink, you know," said Okita. "There's more to do than drink, you know," said Hijikata. "Eat, for instance." "Yeah, I guess you're right," said Okita. "Hell, if Sano's paying, why not?" I wasn't entirely sure Sumi was the sort of place a girl should be, but they were treating me like I was one of them, like I'd finally been accepted. It felt nice. The door at the other end of the room slid open. "Good evening, gentlemen. Thank you for coming," said a lady. An oiran in a beautiful kimono stepped through to greet us with a smile that was somehow both dazzling and demure. And an oiran is a term for a courtesan during the Edo period. The higher the rank of the oiran, the more wealthy and powerful their patron had to be. Her skin was as white as porcelain, with soft red highlights. Her lips looked soft and full, and her hair shone in the light like yards of fine silk. For a moment I stared, in awe of her beauty, my own sex forgotten. Something flickered in her eyes, but it was gone almost immediately. Then she smiled, and it was like watching a flower bloom. "I am Kimigiku, and I will be entertaining you tonight. Please enjoy yourselves. Food will be arriving shortly." Indeed it had, and once the food had arrived, the party truly began. "Man, expensive sake is way different," said Todo. "It just goes down so smooth." "You haven't even touched your food, Heisuke," said Nagakura. "If you drink on an empty stomach, you'll get drunk before you even have a chance to enjoy it." "Whatever," said Todo. "You know how often I get booze this good? Never. Filling up on food would just be a waste of stomach space." "You sound like a bum," said Harada. "Just drink up." "Hey, just 'cause you drink like there's a hole in your stomach doesn't mean the rest of us can." You having fun, Chizuru?" asked Nagakura. "Doesn't look like you're drinking much." "Oh, I can't drink, so I'm just enjoying the food." "All right, well, make sure you eat a lot of it then. We're here to have a good time, so it'd be a damn shame if you didn't have fun." "Thanks." Still, it was the first time I'd ever eaten anything so expensive. Although, to be honest, I couldn't really taste much of a difference. I've heard rumours that the men of the Shinsengumi were like demons or monsters, said Kimigiku. But from where I sit, you look a good deal more handsome than that, almost like an actor. Yeah, I get that a lot, said Hijikata. Kimigiku and Hijikata chatted easily while she poured him his sake, looking almost too beautiful to be real, like they'd stepped out of a painting. Next to someone like her, any woman would have felt rather plain. I was no exception, and dressing like a boy certainly wasn't helping. Still can't believe they gave all this cash just for protecting a board, said Nagakura. I mean, hell, imagine how much you would have got if you caught all of them. How did they get away, actually? Asked Nagakura. You said there were only 8. That should have been pretty manageable. Yeah, what's up with that? Said Todo. I mean, you surrounded them, didn't you? How'd they get away? And how'd the guys you actually caught escape? Harada fell silent, his face slipping into a frown. He stayed that way for a moment or two, then looked inexplicably at me. Chizuru, said Harada, did you go anywhere that night? What? I hesitated, unsure of what he was getting at. No, I didn't go anywhere. Why? You're sure, said Harada, you didn't go anywhere that night? Yes, I'm sure. I've never left the compound alone, ever. Again he fell silent, the same frown crossing his face. Hey, what's wrong? Said Nagakura. Harada didn't look up. When he spoke, his voice was quiet. Maybe it was just a mistake. There wasn't a moon that night. It was dark. No, I saw her up close. There's no way I made a mistake. Harada, what are you talking about? At last he looked up straight into my eyes. After we'd surrounded the Tosa men who tried to take down the notice board, this girl showed up. She looked just like you, got in our way. Because of her, our whole formation fell apart, said Harada. What? The whole room had gone silent. Harada barely spoke above a whisper, but every one of us could hear him perfectly. A girl who looked just like me? What did he mean? Well, like they say, shit happens, said Nagakura. What tonight, sun is paying, so let's drink till the sun comes up. Seconded, said Todo. Time to find out just how much of the stuff I can handle. In just a few minutes, Heisuke Nagakura had the party back in full swing, but I couldn't get my mind off what Harada had said. I'd never left the compound on my own since the time I'd first met the Shinsengumi. Then what had he seen? I felt, and here I have a choice, I felt complicated or I felt strange. Now this is a bit of an odd choice to make, and I have a feeling that maybe in this case the translation is just slightly off, but choosing between complicated and strange is a bit odd, but I'll go with complicated. To be honest, I wasn't quite sure what to feel. I hadn't gotten in Harada's way, of course. There was no way I could have. But I felt bad. Someone who looked just like me had made things more difficult for the Shinsengumi. I didn't know who she was, but our shared appearance made me feel responsible somehow. Who was this strange girl?
Are you worried about what Sano said?
Said Okita. Oh, yes I am. I was wondering how someone could look just like me. Maybe you got possessed, said Okita. Whenever you're sleeping, a restless spirit takes over your body and you wander the streets of Kyoto totally oblivious. Do you really think that's what happened? Maybe he was right. Maybe I was the culprit. I was puzzling that over in my head when he burst into peals of laughter. Ha ha, said Okita. Oh man, I'm just joking, kid. People don't really get possessed. What? Oh, you were kidding. His laughter grew even louder, and I watched with flustered indignation as he wiped a tear from his eye. Oh man, I'm sorry, said Okita. Seriously though, just think about what Sano said for a minute. You remember that girl we met out on patrol with Heisuke, the one who looked just like you? Oh, of course, the girl who Okita had said I bore a striking resemblance to. I'd almost forgotten about her. Her name was Kaoru. Do you think she was the one who kept Harada from capturing all the Tosa men? Well, I can't say for sure, said Okita, but it seems a lot more likely than there being a third girl in Kyoto who looks just like you. But she was just a normal girl. She didn't look like the kind of person who would try to sabotage the Shinsengumi. Haven't you ever heard, you can't judge a book by its cover, said Okita. Maybe she just wanted you to think that. There's no way to know what she might be capable of. Besides, there isn't a person in Kyoto who doesn't know what that board represents. There was no doubt in his voice. What would you do if the girl was the same one who Harada saw? Oh, you already know the answer to that, don't you? Said Okita. I'd kill her, of course. She might be a girl, but an enemy is an enemy. He was right. I had known that he would choose to kill her, but to actually hear the cold finality of his words. I need to go use the facilities. I just couldn't bear to stay in that room any longer. Were the girl we'd seen and the one who'd interrupted Harada one and the same? If she was interfering with the Shinsengumi on purpose, did that mean that she was an imperialist? Or was she simply doing it for her own enjoyment? After all, there wasn't a person in Kyoto who didn't know the name of the Shinsengumi. She had to know what would happen to her if she challenged them. There you are, said Hijikata. I'd wondered where you'd gone off to. Something wrong? The food not your thing? No, it's wonderful. The food, I mean, it's something else. You're worried about the girl Harada saw, said Hijikata. There was no hiding my thoughts from him, it seemed. Don't worry about it, all right? Said Hijikata, and if you were watching you will have seen there was another little petal shower there, a little flurry of sakura petals. Anybody messes with us and I'll make sure they pay for it one way or another, said Hijikata. His words were as curt as always, of course, but I felt like I could sense a certain kindness beneath them. In his own way, he seemed to care about my feelings. Of course, thanks. I could feel my tension begin to dissipate. Without a word, he moved over next to me and sat down. I could feel a warm breeze drifting in through the open window. All right, now it's time for the real party to start, said Nagakura. You ready, Sano? We want to see it. Now you're talking, said Todo. Can't have a party without Sano's unique performance. Well, I guess I don't have a choice then, do I? Said Sanosuke Harada. How could I say no to you guys anyway? What a guy, said Nagakura. Can you get us a brush and some ink, ma'am? Their voices echoed out from the other room, drifting through the warm air. The look on Hijikata's face was one I'd never seen before. A man takes me back, he said. I'm sorry? We used to run this poor sword school back in Tama. We'd drink like this every night. This just reminds me of that. And Tama refers to Tama County, also known as Bushu, in the Musashi province. Both Kondou and Hijikata are natives of this area. There were a lot of men then who wanted to know how to swing a sword in case we went to war or something, but not too many of them wanted to learn from a bunch of country hicks. We didn't have much in the way of money or students, but it was still fun, said Hijikata. Hijikata's face as he spoke was warm and kind, not the sort of thing I would have expected from a commander whose men called him the demon. Something up? Said Hijikata. Oh, I was just surprised you used to do that. What do you mean? You think I've spent my whole life being a cold-hearted bastard knocking around idiot kids in an attempt to get them into some sort of order? I could hardly tell him that was exactly what I'd thought, so I sputtered and mumbled desperately. Instead of the irritated frown I'd expected, his tranquil, warm expression remained, and he went on almost as if I'd said nothing. I still think about it every so often. Wasn't so long ago I was just a street merchant selling my family's medicine. Now I wear swords and work for the shogun. Sometimes I wonder if this is just a long dream, and eventually I'm going to have to wake up. By the time he finished, he seemed to be speaking more to himself than to me. The moon had risen outside our window, and as he looked up, its light washed over his face, the cool glow playing across his handsome features. Just like Kimigiku had said, he was as good-looking as an actor. After her, though, a girl like myself had to seem awfully plain, especially next to a man as beautiful as he. Gah! Oh, I can't take it, said Nagakura. Stop it, Sano. I'm laughing so hard I can't breathe. Come on, you're the idiot who got me up here in the first place, said Harada. Now you want me to stop right in the middle of it? Oh, you're the greatest, Sano, said Todo. One more time. The party lasted until morning. There was the Fury Court to worry about, and now a girl who looked just like me. It was a lot to think about, but it was hard to feel down when everyone around me was having such a great time. It was near year's end, and I was outside in the cold weather, sweeping the compound. Whew, well, that should do it. I wanted to help out as much as I could, but since they still refused to let me out without an escort, there wasn't a great deal I could do. Still, I had helped make our home clean, and that felt good. Hopefully, they'd like it too. Cleaning, I see, said Kondou. You're certainly hard at work. Oh, hello, Kondou. It's really gotten cold lately, hasn't it? Yes, it has indeed. I've been in Kyoto a while now, but I still can't get used to the weather. He rubbed his hands together and blew on them in a mostly vain attempt to warm them up. I've picked up a bunch of dead leaves, so I was thinking about roasting potatoes later. Would you like some? They'll warm you up. Kondou gave me a little wry smile. Roasted potatoes, oh? I used to enjoy that a long time ago. Oh, I flushed with embarrassment. Kondou was a busy man. Management of the Shinsengumi was not easy. A man like that didn't have time for roasting potatoes. You've been really busy lately. I hope you're taking care of yourself. Oh, right. Well, if I'm busy, then that means that the Shinsengumi is needed. It's an honor. True. In the last several weeks, Kondou and Hijikata had left the temple often to go meet with important shogunate officials. They probably scarcely had time to breathe, let alone relax. At that moment, almost as if my thoughts had summoned him, Hijikata appeared. There you are, Kondou. Oh, Toshi, where were you? Said Kondou. I was looking for you. They've chosen the next shogun. It's going to be the Lord Yoshinobu Hitotsubashi. Hijikata's brow furrowed to what I wouldn't have hesitated to describe as a glower. Him, huh? Well, let's hope he lives up to the rumours, said Hijikata. Must you find a dark side to everything? Asked Kondou. Who's Lord Hitotsubashi? I had a vague memory that he was the commander of the shogunate forces during the Battle of Hamaguri Gate, but Kondou gave me a quick explanation of the rest. They say he is very intelligent, some even going so far as to call him the second coming of Lord Ieyasu. He glanced over at Hijikata, perhaps looking for corroboration. He found none. At any rate, he has a quick mind and the Emperor trusts him. How could he be a poor choice? There was a certain pride in Kondou's voice, almost as if he were talking about a friend or brother. If what he said was true, though, then perhaps this shogun would be able to unite the shogunate and the imperial court and overcome the crisis that was destroying our nation. All right, he's smart, I'll give him that, said Hijikata. Then what's the problem? Asked Kondou. Forget it, said Hijikata. Doesn't really matter who the shogun is to us anyway. We're just here to fight for him. That's right, said Kondou. If we do our best, that means the shogun and the shogunate are safe and secure. He kept his tone carefully light, perhaps in an attempt to sway Hijikata, but to no avail. Only 20 days after Lord Yoshinobu had been officially inaugurated as the new shogun, the emperor passed away. It was especially hard on the emperor's younger sister, Kazunomiya, who had been married to Lord Iemochi and was intended to be a symbol of imperial unification, but everyone on both sides was shocked by his death. He was succeeded by the imperial prince, a young boy of only 15 years. In the turmoil, the activities of the Choshu domain went uninvestigated. The entire country of Japan found itself thrust into rapid motion. So now that we've finished chapter 2, I just wanted to show you one feature that the game provides, and that's called Record of Service. And you basically can pick any of the parts you've played from the game. Now, the wonderful thing is that this doesn't just unlock at some later stage, but is available right from the start. I haven't had reason to use it so far because I'm playing through the game initially in a linear fashion, but it's good to know that it's there and you can return to any significant point in case you wanted to redo one of your choice decisions. And while we're here in the settings, we might as well have a look at the status. And here we have Hijikata, and as you know, I've been striving to make decisions that would further my relationship with him. And as you can see, it's hard work. I'm still on low, but my little petal has moved slightly to the right, which is encouraging. As you may remember, each time you make a decision that's in favour of a particular person, there is a little flutter of petals on the screen. And the others are all still set at the original low. So it's only Toshizo Hijikata who's moved a little across. So we're making progress, but it's slow. Just wanted to show you that.